whenever that you return DOM structure will be done, right? After that, it is going to find out what actually, I mean, anytime you want to do any DOM operations, that piece of code will be coming over here. Okay, so this is what your use effect hook is going to look like. So let us create a simple example. Under the components, new folder, use effect hook. Export function. Okay, so this is how it is going to have. Let me say demonstrating use effect. Okay, so how you're going to import this guy under your app.jsx, commenting the existing one, keeping this guy. I say import from /components use effect hook and use effect. We already used it. Okay, let us restart server. Use effect is unrecognized. Why so? Why it is small letter? It should be uppercase, right? Use effect. Okay, so this is your use effect component is coming. Now what I'm saying is here we can keep this optional use effect. This is a optional callback. It's not mandated that use effect has to be invoked. So I'm just defining a callback method like this. Now under this, I say console.log. Okay, use effect got invoked. Okay, so when I say save this guy, come back, inspect this guy, console, you remove this, you reload the page. You see here, use effect is getting invoked here. Yes, you don't need to manually invoke it, it automatically gets invoked. So when this guy is going to get invoked, whenever we are using this component will be binded onto the page. Binded in the sense, this type of look and feel what we are going to get. So immediately, whenever this piece of JSX or fragment gets added onto the page or onto the DOM structure, automatically it will be invoking this use effect method. Okay, when this guy will be invoked, it will be invoked after. It is not before mounting. It is after mounting, it will be invoked. Now, say for example, this div guy is having an ID is equal to ABC, or say something called a SESAM container. My expectation is I would like to find out this container document dot query selector hash container dot uh, style dot background color or style dot color is equal to something called as green. This is what I have given. Okay, now let us save this guy, come back, inspect this, you reload this guy. Is it is getting affected? So it you say that cannot read properties of null. What it is saying is, I am trying to find out an element called as a container, but I couldn't able to find out. Why the reason? Boss, when the component is rendering, I mean, when I'm at line number 4, line number 8 to 12 is not yet invoked. The element has not yet binded onto the page. So when I could able to invoke this guy only after this invoking is being done. But can I add any piece of code after the return? No. Then how do I invoke this? This type of code has to be kept under the use effect method. Okay. So because this method will be only invoked after this complete mounting will be done. After the complete UI is being rendered onto the page, immediately I'm going to call the use effect method. So under this, if I call this guy, by that time element will be automatically created. Yes. Now once you reload the page, I could able to change the element to the green. Am I clear? So this is what the statement I have mentioned here. The piece of code, important hook, gets invoked immediately after the component UI gets binded. What is this? Binded onto the page. And majorly the code related to DOM operations, any type of DOM operations you want to mention. So those things or API calls has to be placed within the use effect hook. Any questions up to this? I already mentioned that, Amresh. I told you that. What do you mean by okay, here, right? Square braces you're mentioning. Yes. Square braces, it is recommended that we have to keep it. Either you give some value or don't give some value, it has to be given. This is the syntax what it is recommended. Otherwise, data binding or life cycle might get affect. That is the reason keep some square brace. What should be provided under the square brace? I'm going to talk about it. Okay, that is something called as dependencies. I'll talk about that. Any questions?
Yeah, sir. Actually, I think okay, this is the one way, but I think shall we do with set timeout? Like, shall we call that particular document query selector after two, 3 seconds when the page is loaded?
Why? Why?
Set timeout. Like,
No, no. My question is, why do you want to go with the set timeout? My requirement is, I want to go with a green color.
no,
Uh,
why? Because so when we use the set timeout, so that means when the DOM is prepared, then only we will add the style. Is
okay,
it
set
possible?
timeout. Okay,
Yeah.
you're saying that instead of this, let me add some set timeout so that like after some seconds you will be invoking it, the
Yes.
DOM will be available,
Is
right?
that possible? Yeah.
No, no. My question is, can you tell me how many seconds we need to add?
Yeah, approximately we'll give the three
No,
seconds.
no. Approximately, you tell me the value. How many seconds you would like to
Yeah,
go
we'll
for?
give the 3 seconds then.
Okay. Are you sure that every DOM of your every
Yeah,
component will be
yeah.
for sure finishing in 3 seconds?
Yeah, yeah. It's not possible. So, but
That's
we
it.
can also achieve, but it's not the ideal way.
Not even achieve. I mean, that is not at all a right solution. Because, like, I mean, how do you say that a component will be taking 1 second, 2 second, 10 second, 30 seconds, etc.? So, if you keep in this use effect, I am the life cycle of your component will make sure that after complete binding of this UI, I will immediately invoke this use effect. So that's it. So that is solving the problem, right? So use effect, sorry, the set timeout is not at all a solution which is recommended. Okay.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Sir, in return, whatever is there, after binding that, it will execute document or query selector. This one, sir.
After binding this complete fragment, I have one single line, but it could be any number of lines. The complete
Oh,
UI will be binded. After that, don't say that document selector. Instead, this is the callback what we have given, right? Under that callback, you have 100 lines of code. That code will be executed.
okay. First fragment will execute, and after that, use effect
Yes,
hook
ma'am.
will be.
Exactly. So that's what I said, right? After binding the UI, a lot of people have this question. Even in interviews, also people might confuse you. Use effect is getting called before binding or after binding? After
Uh,
binding.
One more question, sir. I mean, it's not related this topic.
Mhm.
Package.json means it's all dependencies we can include in that, right, sir, for the React application.
Not just only dependencies, ma'am. Package.json is actually the start of the project. Now, in future, for example, you're going into one of the project. They say that, okay, boss, React Web App is the project what you need to work on, and this is how the project is going to look like. Instead of demonstrating use effect, you have to do something else. Any project which is being given, either it is a Node.js project, React project, Angular project, Next.js, Backbone, Knockout, any of the projects you go, under the project, for sure you will look into something called as package.json. The package.json will help you not only the dependencies. Yes, dependencies is the part. It also helps us showing that what all the dev dependencies, what all the actual dependencies of your current project. Along with that, I tell you some extra meta information, the name of the project, the license of the project, authors of the project, versions of the project, what type of project it is. You see, it is module. That is the reason we could able to say import. Otherwise, we couldn't able to say import. In the same way, npm run dev means what? npm run build means what? npm lint means what? So these all things are also part of the package.json. Clear, Sri?
Oh, yeah, clear, sir. No, I encountered with the interview question. In Spring Boot, no, pom.xml is used for dependencies. In React application, how you will add dependencies, where you add in your application.
Exactly.
So
So even in
that's
your
why I asked.
yeah, in your that is a valid comparison. In your Spring Boot application, pom.xml is the where you're going to add the entry of each and every service. Okay, what is the microservice? What is the controller which gets invoked for that? So that is your heart of the what do you say, Spring application, right? The same
Okay,
way, this is your starting point of your application.
okay, sir. So just for clarification, I asked.
Hope you're clear.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Sir, as you said, use effect will work for life cycle hook. So how it will work?
Okay, how it will work in the sense, the reason why I'm saying that it will be taken care of the life cycle is, let us take an example. For example, I say there is a select. Okay, I say under that option value is some red color, red. Okay, this is a simple drop down what I have added onto the page. My expectation is whatever the drop down value changes, automatically this color has to be get affected. Okay, so the first thing is, just give me a minute. Okay, so the first thing is we need to capture what is the value which is being selected by the user. Agree? First of all, I need to know that what is the color what user has chosen so that I can take this and I can apply to the page. So how you're going to do that? So in order to do that, obviously we are going to go for a state variable. I say var. Instead of var, I say const theme or set theme is equal to use state as empty. Okay, now anytime this value is getting changed, I say on change is equal to, I'll say some event, and under that set theme event dot target dot value. Okay, now I'm taking this theme I'm taking this theme. Okay, first of all, I will say by default, it is something called as red color. Okay, and now what I'm doing is I'm taking this theme and I'm updating this value to this guy. Now when I'm saving this, coming back, reload. By default, what is the theme? It is red. That is what I'm applying. My expectation is when I'm saying blue, automatically this guy has to turn into blue now. Now, whatever I'm saying, I mean, the value getting updated, I mean, this piece of method, when this method has to be called? Whenever the value of the particular state value is getting updated, then only it has to be changed. So that is what we will be adding the dependencies under the use effect. Okay. First thing, what is the rule of the use effect? When the component is being binded with the JSX, after that, immediately use effect is the method which is getting invoked automatically. Point number one. And the point number two is when it will be revoked again, whenever the dependencies of this component is getting updated. Okay, whenever the dependencies, what are the dependency you have given? Theme is the dependency I have given. Implies if that value is changing and not just only the theme, you can say comma A, comma B, comma C, comma D, comma any number of parameters you add, any one of the value getting updated, automatically use effect is going to get invoked here. Whenever the user effect is getting invoked, then the life cycle binding will be automatical. I mean, when the user effect is coming, again the rebinding will be done on this page. Are we clear? So let's have a look on this. Now what I have given is theme is the value what I have given. Now let's reload the page. Okay, let us say console.log use effect got invoked. Okay, let's save this, come back, reload the page. Now I'm saying, you see, when I'm reloading the page, use effect got invoked. Super fine, which is valid. Okay, now whenever I'm changing this green, is my theme got updated? My theme got updated, automatically use effect got invoked. Anytime the value of this theme is getting updated, automatically use effect is the method which gets invoked automatically. Whenever the use effect is coming, now again, the life cycle, the binding will be automatically done. Did that answer your question, Pallavi?
Yes, sir. So means first it will rendering will happen. After that, mounting will happen.
Okay, what is the difference between rendering and mounting? Both are same, right? Rendering is in general, we call it as a DOM. When I say mounting, it's a component. But indirectly, when I say that component mounting is happening, in the sense component JSX is getting occupied on the DOM structure, right? So first of all, whenever the component is coming, I'll come to this JSX. This logic will be executed. Use effect, I'm not going to invoke anything here. You see here, I'll say console. Console.log component got invoked. Okay, let us come back here and reload the page. You see, component got invoked first. Later, use effect got invoked. But before this use effect, this binding has been done. So when it is coming to the component, when this user effect is coming under your app.jsx, whenever you use this tag, automatically I will come over here. I will be invoking all these functionalities. But when I'm coming to line number 7, I don't execute. I get paused. Then I come to line number 12. I will be executing this. Executing is equal to binding or mounting the UI of the component. After that, I will come back to the user effect. Then I'm going to execute this. Okay, if I say console.log after use effect. You see here, when I reload this page, you see it is not in the order. Component got invoked, it is after effect, then use effect is coming. Why so use effect is not getting invoked? Only after binding I will be getting invoked. Am I clear, Pallavi?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Any more questions? Ajitesh, what about use state hook? Will it work before Come on, that's a variable declaration, right? That will be done automatically in the we are not passing any callback method which has to be invoked there, right? It's just a variable declaration that will be before. Difference between mounting and rendering. So I hope you're clear, Ajitesh, now, or still question? Okay, clear. Madhuri, please add both parameters used in running nodes. Both parameter, which one? Okay, with parameters and without parameters of use effect. Is this is what you're saying, ma'am? Madhuri? Respond immediately, guys, if you had a question. Okay, I'll say dependency one, dependency two, etc. Okay. Narendra, very big question. Instead, you would have unmuted and you would have speak.
Morning, sir.
Anyway,
This we have some events are there, right? An event on mouse change. So like this, like what is the main events which we'll use in real time? Like even the hooks as well, like on state use state hooks, those things are there, right? So maybe like what we can use mainly. Because when you do the mouse over, like before you writing, there are many events are there, like hooks as well. Which one we can use in real time, sir?
okay, so let me separate your questions. Your question is there are lots of
Events, yeah.
synthetic events which are available, which is mostly recommended in your real time. Question number one. And the question number two is there are a number of hooks, what we mentioned in our real time. I mean, lots of hooks which have been supported in your React. So, which is mostly used in your real time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, coming to the first question, there is nothing like, okay, when I say that on click is a hook which is available, on mouse over is a hook available, on focus, on change, on blur. Like this, there are hell lot of events which are available. On key up, on key down, on key press, on drag over. Hell lot of events are there. Now, if you ask me a question, which is mostly used, depends on your requirement, right? So, which is mostly used when that question has to come, is on click is capable of doing the job of others? Can I say instead of on change, I can use on click also? No. If the requirement is click event only, then you will be using only on click, right? Why do you go with others? Now I will tell you, boss, on click is the major one which will be used. In your project requirement, your manager or your requirement asked you, whenever you mouse over on particular text, you put some message. Then why do you go with on click? You will be going with hover effect, right? So that is never a what do you say, never a statement where we can say that this is the mostly used what do you say, this is the mostly used event what we are going to use. That is never a good statement. It's all depends upon the requirement. Okay, coming to your second point, coming to the use hook, sorry, use state hook, use params, use reducer, use effect. Okay, there are hell lot of hooks what we have. If you ask me what is important, everything is important. Everything is important. Now I say that in my project, use params is the use params is one of the hook which I rarely use it. Does it mean that it is not required? No. When I go with the routing, if at all I have to read the parameters of the URL, I have to for sure go with the use params. But yes, mostly used is use state because for declaring any of the state variable, we will be using the use state. So mostly used is this. Doesn't mean that you do it is more important and remaining are not important. Are we clear? Did that answer your question, Narendra?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I mean, even after writing that big question, you could able to unmute yourself. Okay, any more questions?
Sir, actually, we have the document for the React. So actually, in the document where we can find the like about this use effect and use state.
The
Will it be?
document, right? We have it,
Yeah.
right? For example, if you go with the React, dev and React. So here you search for something called as use effect. it is like a very, very best documentation you can see here. You see, use effect. What is the setup? What is the dependencies? So this is how the syntax is. So you can see the complete list of documentation here. In the same way, you wanted use state like this. Search for this.
Okay, sir, but actually, when to run the application, we are using npm run dev something we are using. But where I can find that particular command here, actually, it's showing some npx kind of different one to run.
Okay, your first question is done.
Oh, yeah, it's done, sir. Now I know.
Okay, so coming to your second question, where is the documentation? Here I have clearly shown you guys everything, whatever we have done in your React installation setup, etc. We haven't pick it up from Google or so. We took it from your React dev itself. You can simply say React installation. Okay, so if you go here under your React dev itself, under learning installation, here itself you have. So under the installation, he has given two options for you: creating a React app, building a React app from the scratch. Now we have gone from this React building a create app from the scratch, and this is what we have mentioned. Am I clear? Earlier it was npx when we were going into the React 18. npx create react app and app name. That is in case of your React 18. But coming to your React 19, we were directly using the white bundler to create the complete project. But this is the bundler. As I said, you have a lot of bundlers available. Why we gone for this white? Because it has been suggested by React 19 documentation itself. So this guy is going to tell you, and when we create this project, automatically this package.json is the one which got created. Automatically npm run dev means what? npm run build means what? Which is already there, right? Clear, Ganesh?
Yeah, okay, sir. So that means why? Because we are using the white bundler, so that's why we are using like this command. So it will be changed for the.
It will be changed according to the bundler what you are using.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Ajitesh, if we pass multiple dependencies to use effect, then there is any order between the dependencies for executing callback? No, Ajitesh. Okay, that's a good question. What he's saying is, boss, if we are passing, say something called as A1, comma A2. Now, when the theme is changing, automatically getting updated. A1 is changing, automatically getting updated. A2 is changing, automatically this method will be invoked. Now we're saying that what is the order? But before asking your order, can you change multiple values at a time? If all three values changing at a time, then you can ask me a question, what is the order? But do you think that at a time A1, A2, A3, A4, all the values can be changed at a time? No, right? It will be one by one. Obviously, the one which gets updated, then only the invoke will be called. Clear, Ajitesh? Madhuri, when we use use state, then need to add curly brackets. Then why not use curly brackets to theme? Uh, this one you're saying, Madhuri?
Line number 9, sir. Line number 9.
Line number
The
9.
theme.
Is it is 9 you're saying, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, your question is not at all matching there. Where is use state there? Okay, you're saying that I'm using the theme value and I'm not
Correct.
using the curly brace.
Curly braces.
Why?
Yes.
Because when it is a direct value, why do we use this curly brace? Earlier, I was taking an object. That is the reason it was object dot or curly brace what I have used. But here it's a straightforward value, right? Any questions on this? So when we have to use the state variable, use the state variable name directly. If you have to set the state variable, this is the method what we go for. That's it. No need
I
of curly
think
brace.
curly brackets we can use in HTML code only.
I mean, expressions, right? Yeah, when we are
Yes.
binding that, for example, here, I would like to show something called as theme. Then in that case, you need to say, and better don't say that it's just curly brace, make it as expression. So that means use the terminology. So we will be using this terminology, we'll be using this expression to evaluate the theme and show the value on the page. Clear, ma'am? Shivangi, in the previous example, we are doing binding. We are just changing the color of the element. Binding means something we can include and variable is used. No, no, Shivangi. Binding is, again, you guys still have a question with what is the binding? It's very simple, guys. You have the UI, you have the JavaScript. Automatically getting the JavaScript data onto the UI is called as binding. Automatically getting the data of UI into the JavaScript variable is called as binding. That is two-way data binding. Simple. Now, when you're getting the JavaScript value to the UI, you do DOM operation, you do arithmetic operation, you do whatever you want. I could able to access that value onto the page, as simple as it is. That is only binding. On the top, whatever you want to do, that is your requirement. Okay. Any questions? Can I go forward? Everyone is
So
understanding?
in the line number 10, like you said, we can 10, so we can pass the n number of elements.
N number of references. For example, on your page, for example, I'm going to create a payslip. In fact, you can try that assignment. Okay, first assignment, what you can try is generate a payslip. Okay, now there will be a form where user is going to fill the name, user is going to fill the age, user is going to fill the department, user is going to fill the basic salary. That's it. And gender. Now there will be a payslip at the bottom, which will say that what is your name, what is your age, what is your gender, what is your department, what is your basic salary, what is your PF value, what is your HRA, what is your total salary, what is the tax you need to pay, okay, and what is the on hand salary. This is the data what you need to have. Now, anytime I change the value of the basic salary, do I need to change this data or not? Yes or no? Yes, right? Automatically, my PF value, HRA value, total salary value, this all will be changed. Anytime I change the gender value, automatically this tax value and on-hand salary will change or not? Because like for gender male, you have a different way of calculating the tax. For gender female, different way of calculating the tax. So obviously there is a difference, right? So you need to, now in that case, what is going to do? Under your use effect, you are going to calculate the total salary and total tax, and the dependencies what you give is basic salary and gender. Now there are two dependencies. So like this, if the dependencies are increasing, if you say that that value has to be keep on updated every time based on the dependency, you have to go with this dependencies, any number of dependencies. Clear with your question? Whoever asked this?
Yeah, yes, sir. But is it possible to show any one example in current user could only pass
I
more?
already added, right, theme?
Yeah, other more than one like.
Okay, more than one you wanted. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, let us even change the background color also. Okay.
Yeah.
Let us say another guy. This guy is background color. Okay. So this is BG color. Set BG color. This guy is say something called as yellow. This guy will be set BG color event.target.value. Okay. And now what I need to do is here I need to update container style of background hyphen color is equal to the BG color. Right? Now let us save this guy, come back, reload the page. You see yellow background has come with red color. Now I say green color, green is getting affected. But whenever I'm changing this guy to pink color, background is not getting affected. Why so? Use effect is not getting invoked. Why so? You have not given as a dependency. Add this as a dependency. Boss, every time this use effect has to be invoked, anytime the theme changes or BG color changes. Reload the page. Now I say this is green, changing. This is pink, changing. Okay, so like this, any number of dependencies you can mention. Am I clear with your question, Ganesh?
Yeah, yes, sir. Sir, actually, in the container, where we are using the container in the DOM elements, sir, doc query selector. Okay, okay, okay. Cool, thanks, sir. Thank you.
Anyone, any more questions? All good? Okay. Now,
Hello,
let us go ahead.
hello. Sir, suppose we have to write that dependencies on condition based. Like suppose we change the theme, then we need to change that background color. On condition based, how we can implement there?
Conditional based. Okay, you mean to say, obviously you can put the condition over here, right? For example, if so and so. That's up to you. Under the use effect, you can put whatever the conditions you wanted, right? If the theme is not equal to red, then you do this, then you put your condition. This is a function, Madhuri. This is just a simple method I am invoking. Under the method, whatever the logic you want to go, you can go for that, right? Who is stopping us to not to use the loopings, not to use the conditions? No, right? We can do that, right?
Okay, okay, understood.
Sir, in the line number 13, can we change the orders? First, shall we give the BG color after the theme?
It's up to you. When the invoking is not at all related to order, why the reason definition of the order matters for us? I already told you, right? Do you think that, for example, now theme and BG color is the one? Can you change both values at a time here?
No,
That
no.
is what someone, Narendra or someone is asking, right?
Okay.
Both values for sure not going to change. If you say both values at a time, then you can ask me a question that what is the order? Obviously, when I change this guy, this is getting updated. When I say this guy, it is getting updated. Now, when I change this guy, this is getting affected. Any value of the dependency getting updated, automatically UI gets updated. That's it. As simple as it is.
Thanks, sir.
So
Can we get style dot background hyphen color? No, Shivangi, because if I say hyphen, that will be a minus operator there. That is the reason I kept inside the square brace. Do we have Swati today in the class? That is the reason I didn't get questions from her. Okay. Anyone else? Any more questions?
here when the default value is red, the background color, but it is not getting invoked, why?
You mean to say red color and yellow color?
Yeah,
Did you observe this? On load of the page, this red and yellow is getting updated. Clear?
but there, sir, you can see there the color is red and background color is red. But
Okay,
it is
guys,
showing
this
that
guy, after this, you guys need to understand why it is not coming. Have I binded that value to this? No. Then in that case, you need to say, what is my value? My value is this theme. That's it. Obviously, without setting the value, how that value will be updated. So now this is get red. Instead of red, I will say something called as pink by default. Is pink is getting set? Simple. Any more questions? All good? Okay. Now let us go into, is that fine, guys? This is the assignment. I'll keep it over here itself. Is this running notes is really helpful for you guys? Going through everyone?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Going,
Yes, sir.
It will be very helpful to us, like in the interviews time.
sure, very nice. And like any time, right? Like today, someone asked, I think Madhuri, boss, you're missing with that second parameter. Under this running note, something has to be added. Please feel free to let me know. Okay. I mean, with my expectations, I'll be writing the piece of code. If you say that, no, for this part also, could you please add some notes on it? I'm going to add it.
Sir, I have a small doubt.
Go ahead, please. Small or big, throw it to me. Come
So
on.
if you want to call multiple API calls in background,
API calls in background.
yeah.
Okay.
So for example, I have to use multiple API calls like user service and production. If I'm using Spring Boot,
Uh-huh.
So can I declare all these things in only single use effect or multiple use effects?
Okay, that's a good question. So, first thing is we haven't yet gone through the API calls. I will come to that later. But one thing what I have rightly mentioned is the right question is, for example, I assume like some DOM operations has to be done here. If there are some two other more values has to be done, can I add another use effect here? Now, if I say use effect, something like this, I'm adding another use effect. Under this, I say console.log. Second use effect is called. Okay, this is first use effect, and this is second use effect. Now, when I come back, reload, invoke. So, is it is getting invoked here? First use effect is getting invoked. Second use effect is also getting invoked. Okay, I will go with another use effect, which is third. Which is third. Now I will say this and reload, come back. So this is how it is happening. Now the question is, I mean, how many use effects it can be used? Boss, anyway, use effect is the method which will be used in order to use effect is the method. Okay, 1 second. We'll do one thing. We'll take this BG color into this guy, and for BG, I'm saying the dependency onto this. I mean, whatever the BG color changes it is happening, I'm not giving the dependency over here. Now let us see this. Now once I reload the page, I say green, this is happening. I say blue, this is happening. Okay, like this, we can make use of it in general. But in your real time, if you write multiple use effects within your same application, it is not at all the recommended way of doing. In general, what people will do earlier, what I have done is, boss, when the theme is changing, when the earlier I have added theme comma BG color, when the BG color is changing, why you're updating the theme? It is not needed. So that is the reason for the theme effect. I have done one guy. For this guy, I have added one more. So what if like you have 100 dependencies? Are you going to write 100 use effects? No. That is the reason it is mostly not recommended to go with multiple use effects within your page. If you have multiple API calls, multiple DOM updations, use it inside your one single use effect because that will confuse the developers. For example, I was being given this code. Now, when I go with this use effect, I will only concentrate on this. I never expect that other use effect will be there in my application. Ishwar, did that answer your question?
So one more doubt, sir, actually.
Go ahead.
So for example, if you want to book some order in Amazon payment, okay, first I choose the products. There is one DOM is there. And after that, I'll go to the payment process. But you say that actually, okay, so there was a two API calls is there. The first I would like to call with product service, and later it will render into the payment gateway. So if I use the single use effect, okay, will you render in both in single phase?
If you see here, rendering is not at all a job of use effect, isn't it? Rendering is not at all a job of use effect. I'm not going to render any piece of code over here. You give me some set of instructions, I'm going to execute those instructions. If that is part of rendering, it will be done. If it is just a business logic, I'll be getting executed. That's it. Now, under this, product selector API will be done. Under that, payment API get will be done. Under that, notification API will be done. Under that, success message will be shown for the user. Assume like 4 API calls. So you need to, I mean, those all will be executed whenever there is a change on the particular one. Right? Did that answer your question or still a confusion?
Still I confuse, sir.
Maybe once we include the API calls, then you will understand more better.
Okay.
Okay, so the immediate example what I'm going to show you is API calls, then you will understand more better. Okay, if it is still not, then again, please put your question back. Okay.
So this question I can understand actually. Okay.
I didn't get you, Ishwar.
Now it is okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, up to here you're okay, right? Good.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going with creating API calls or okay, using API calls, I'll say. Okay, so API call demo. What do you mean by API calls? Everybody knows, right? We have something called as web services. Anytime I want to get any data from the server, okay, we always go with something called as web services. Okay, so how do we create our own web service? Right now, we are not concentrating on it. I will be concentrating on existing web service. Assume like there is an already existing web service and I want to hit the data and I want to render the data, dynamic data. There is something called as Istro API. Everybody know our Istro, right? So Istro openly provides some of the APIs. For example, if at all you have to know what all the list of spacecrafts our ISRO is providing, so these all are the spacecraft informations. So the ID is one, the name is Aryabhatta, ID is two, name is so and so. Like this, 100 plus. 100 plus spacecrafts information is available. In the same way, what all the list of launchers available in our within our ISRO. So this is what we have. What is the ID of it? What is the launches? Okay, PSLV and SLV so and so. And customer satellites. Guys, if you're not speaking, could you please go into mute? Okay, what are the customer satellites? We already know, right? Our Indian ISRO is not just only launching our own satellites, but they help us with a very less cost. We could able to put their satellites into the orbit. Okay, so this is all the information. You see, like these all are the countries who took the help from us. Do we have Pakistan here? Okay, good. Okay, so these all are the countries who took help of us, and we could able to launch the customer satellites. Very good. Now my expectation is, I want to show this data, the customer's satellite information within my page. Okay, within my component, I would like to show this data, and this is a dynamic data. So today, some other customer is coming and saying that, okay, launch this. Automatically, the launch information will be updated over here. Okay, so how do we get this? So now my expectation is this is what we call it as a web service. Web service to get customer satellites info. This is the web service. So a lot of people get this confusion. Is it is a web service? Yes, it is a web service, or it can be REST API, or it can be data endpoint, or it can be it can be API URL, etc. Like this, n number of names we can have for this URLs. Okay, whatever the endpoints we have, we can call it as web APIs, REST APIs, data endpoints, data URLs, API. Lot of names are there, but don't confuse. Any URL what you're hitting, getting the data, that's a web service or API endpoint, etc. Okay, now my expectation is I would like to use that service. Okay, I would like to use this service, and I would like to get this. I mean, I would like to render this data onto the component. Okay, first of all, let us go with this. I mean, in general, in your real time, if at all you have this type of task, what I generally recommend is go with static data first. Okay, what I took is I said something called as var satellite info is equal to something like this. Okay, I just took this, what do you say, hard-coded array of data because this is the response what we are receiving from the server. Any questions? I mean, before going with the dynamic, let us see how you're going to make it as static. Then we'll see how you're going to make it as dynamic. Now, can I render this data onto the UI? Yes or no? Yes. Or instead of this guy, can I say state variable? I say const satellite info set satellite info. Okay, so this is how I am defining this. Now I will use this satellite info. Say something called as, let me go with the table. I'll go with the table. Under that, I'll go with the T head. I'll go with the TR. I'll go with the TH. Under that, ID, TH. Under that, country. Under that, TH. Launch date, TH. What is mass? Weight. Kgs or tons? Tons. You guys are scientists. You know everything. TH. Launcher. Okay, so under this, I'll go with T body, under this TR. Now this TR has to be repeatedly done, iteration. Okay, you know how do we do this iteration? Let's put an expression. We guys are already so much clear on this. Now I'll say this is satellite info dot customer satellites. Instead of that, shall I directly take an array instead of making it as an object? Valid, right? Why do I go with again key here? I'll go with satellite info dot map is the method like this. Okay, under this you're going to get the satellite comma index. Okay, under that now we are going to keep a tr. Under this a td where the first one is ID, right? So we'll say satellite dot ID. And this index I will be using to put your key. Otherwise, warning is going to come for us. So you'll say some index. Okay. In the same way, what all we have? Country, launch date, launcher. Okay, this is the data what I have added. Let us save this. Let us come back to the UI. Where is your UI? Nothing is coming. Why so? Let's reload the page. Did I added any syntax? This is
Sir,
commented.
you have not imported use state.
But why I'm giving, yes, first of all, I have to say use state, right? I give it a invalid syntax. Use state has to be given like this. Okay. This is how the table is coming. But I want to have a beautiful look and feel. Have you imported Bootstrap here already? Under your app.jsx, I have not. Main.jsx. No. Shall I go with Bootstrap also here? Okay, let us say npm install Bootstrap. Okay, so after installing the Bootstrap, what should we go for? I need to import it, right? Import node modules. My God, sometimes it throws and sometimes it's not. Bootstrap, under Bootstrap directly? No. What happened? npm install Bootstrap. What is this? Bootstrap. Okay, so I say Bootstrap under the dist folder, under that CSS, under that. Why auto suggestion is not coming?
Just to give the tabs, that might be the space and tab.
I already did that. It's somehow it is missing. You see, I'm just pressing tab, not working. Okay, let's import the CSS also. Sorry, JavaScript also. Okay, so now Bootstrap is included. Now what I can go for is under this API calls, this table, I'll say class name is equal to table hyphen bordered. Okay, this is how I have my table getting rendered. Any questions up to this? Everyone is good? Okay, now
Yeah,
is
okay,
it
but
a stack?
actually, yeah, when the object declaration, why we need to use the user we don't use anyway. So I
Sorry,
think
could you repeat your question once again, please?
in the line number 5 to declare that object. So why we need to declare like in the use state? I think can't we like can't we treat it as a normal variable or like that?
My expectation is I want to remove this and I want to go with the dynamic data in future.
Okay.
I have to do that right after getting the API call. Okay, so this is what I have added. Now what I'm having is this is the data which is a static. Okay, which is not at all recommended. My expectation is I would like to make it as a dynamic data. Okay, now when you save this guy, come back and reload the page, nothing is coming. No data is available. But now when the data is available, what I have to do? I have to hit this API and I have to get the data from it. So how you're going to do that? I'm going to use the use effect hook. Okay, right now my dependencies are empty. I'm just keeping this. Now under this use effect, how you're going to hit a API call? You know that fetch is the predefined method which is available in your JavaScript. By default, it is available. So what does this fetch method will give? You simply pass the URL. Okay, and this guy is going to give you a fetch will give you the promise dot then response. It is going to give response dot JSON dot then it is going to give you a promise with all the result. Now I say console dot log result. This is all plain JavaScript, guys. You might be knowing. Fetch is the predefined method in your JavaScript using which you're going to get the data. Now, when I'm inspecting this guy, go to console. Reload the page. Error occurred in application. Consider adding error boundary tree. What happened to this?
Did you
Fetch.
assign this? Did you assign to use state this one?
Oh, no, forget about the use state. First of all, we are seeing like whether we are getting the data or not. Okay, I think fetch syntax is missing. Response.json, then response dot. Okay, let me say return response.json.
So we have to write catch error also.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want. I want to replace this with Axios. That is the reason I'm just writing some plain piece of code. Once I have the response, I'll go to Axios.
Sir, it's a promise, then we don't need to write a return.
But actually, this guy, right? Yeah, that is also true. But I'm going with this syntax. If response is okay, return response.json. Response.json.
Catch block also, so that error whatever is getting.
Sorry. It is a valid statement. Fetch so and so.
In the T body, yeah. So check in the T body.
Sorry, which body?
T body. I think previously.
No, forget about the T body. T body is not at all a problem for us now. Until and unless we have this data, this is empty. Obviously, okay, use state. Let us make it as empty array. Right now, I don't have anything. Okay, so that is actually working. Okay, but the problem is why this guy is not showing the result
Sir,
for
I
us.
think you can remove that return JSON data.
No, everything is working. The only thing is I am looking into a different tab. That's it. Okay, so if you see here, you see I could able to hit the API and I could able to see the data which has been coming from your API. So this one, we are using the predefined JavaScript method, which is your fetch method. But this is not Mostly not like recommended, but the best way to go. I mean, we do have some better way, which is you're using the existing predefined libraries. Let us go with something called as Axios library. Axios is one of the library using which we could able to invoke the same API and get the data. And the best thing what we have is, for example, in future, if you want to go with the post method, get method, or some etc. stuff, it will be more easy for us. Okay, that is the reason I have already done with this. Instead of which, I'll go with Axios also now. Okay, Axios is one of the third-party library, which is nothing to do with your React. It is just a third-party library. It can be used in JavaScript, Angular, React, anywhere you wanted. What I'm going to do is npm install Axios. So once you say npm install Axios, Axios will be available for us. I say npm run dev. Now I go from here. I'll say import Axios from
Sir, I have doubt on fetch.
please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, if we are going to write return response.json, then we don't need to write that dot then result. Am I right?
No, you have to return. You have to do that. Why is this Axios? Okay. Sorry, ma'am. You're saying that? Okay, it is no need to return, you're saying.
Yeah, so if we are going to write the return, so I think so we don't need to write dot then result.
This guy?
Hmm.
Actually, right, in case of fetch method, what happens is this promise is going, I mean, whenever I'm hitting the API, it will return that guy. This is the promise which is going to get written. Under this callback method, you're going to get the response, but that response has to be converted into JSON. Okay. And that .json method also returns a promise to you. So this guy itself is going to return a promise. Now this return another promise. Now who is going to catch that promise? This is the .then method which is going to catch. Am I clear? Response.json is a predefined method to convert the response into a JSON object, and that itself will return a promise for you. Now, if I don't return promise, I say just a JSON. Now, who is going to, I mean, there should be another promise to catch that guy, right? That is the reason I'm going to say return here. Am I clear, Pallavi?
Yes.
Okay. So I say instead of using fetch method, let us say Axios method now. Now I say Axios dot get is the method, and what is my URL? This is the URL. And I say dot then method, which can be written directly here. So here you don't need to say converting the object into JSON. That will be automatically taken care by your Axios. Now I say console dot log response. Are we clear? Now let us save it. And again, this guy dot catch also. If you have any errors, it will be catched. Error console.log error. Clear, everyone? Let us save this guy, come back and reload the page. Okay, now let us see whether we are getting the response or not. Go to console. You see the response is an object. Under that there is something called as a data. Under that there is something called as a customer satellites, and this is the data which is getting shown onto the page. Any questions? I mean, either you use the fetch method, you use the Axios method, doesn't make any difference. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I say satellite info. Now what I'll do is set satellite info. What will be the satellite info now? Response dot data dot, what was that? Customer satellite info, right? Customer satellite here. Now when I save it, come back, reload your page. Is this getting rendered fine for you? Yes, it is. So